What's up, awesome YouTubers? Ryan1988 or Justin back here to do a video for you guys. And today is a special video because I'm going to be ranking all 13 Friday the 13th films. Now you might be saying, Justin, 13 movies? Well, I'll get to that in just a second. But the reason why I am doing a ranking is we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of the original Friday the 13th. On this day, May 9th in 1980, the original Friday the 13th was released. It's one of my favorite horror movies. I go to it quite a bit, and I have so many memories with that movie. So happy 40th to Friday the 13th. I love that movie, and I love this franchise. So this is going to be a fun ranking. This ranking will change throughout the years. Not all of them. I think some of them I'm pretty confident that they will stay where they are, where other ones kind of change a little bit, not too much. But like I said, I'm going to rank 13 movies, and I'm going to include Freddy vs. Jason and also the short film Never Hike Alone, which I have right there. I think both movies are definitely worth mentioning. I think Never Hike Alone is a fantastic short movie, so if you've not seen it yet, definitely try to check it out. I think it's available to watch on YouTube, so if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go and do that. By the way, I want to point out that I am wearing a Friday the 13th t-shirt, one of my favorites, so celebrating the day, celebrating the 40th anniversary of a classic film and a classic franchise. Let's get started. I'm going to go for my worst to best, and my number 13 is the only movie in the franchise where I would actually consider that I don't like the movie, where everything else I actually consider movies that I really enjoy. So the first movie that I talk about is the worst. Everything else I really like, really enjoy, or I love. So number 13 is Jason X. This one came out in 2002, I believe. I did not see it in theaters, but I do remember the promotion for the film. Saw it on VHS when it came out. We rented the movie, and when I was younger, I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it for what it was, but now rewatching it, which oddly enough, I've watched it twice recently, it is a film that I don't like at all. Like, the first time I rewatched it was maybe 2 months ago, and it just was bad. There are some redeeming qualities about it. You know, I think there's a really cool kill in the movie involving, you know, some woman's head getting frozen and then crushed in. That's a cool kill. I think Kane Hodder does a great job. He is definitely by far one of my favorite Jasons out there. But other than that, the movie is kind of forgettable, and, you know, the CGI was horrible, especially now with today's technology. I just think that is a mess of a movie. If you like it, that is cool, but for me, it's the only Friday the 13th film that I don't like watching. And again, I watched it twice recently, which is crazy, but you know, the second time I watched it because I was having a double feature with a friend of mine, shout out to Brian, and we were watching, you know, kind of So Bad It's Good movies. So, well, not So Bad It's Good movies, that was just a terrible movie, in general, for me at least. Going on to number 12. Now, this is when the list kind of goes from, you know, really liking a movie, really enjoying a movie, or loving a movie. You know, like, really enjoy, love a movie. So number 12 is Jason Goes to Hell. Now, Jason Goes to Hell I would probably have ranked higher years ago. Nowadays, it ranks kind of here. It might jump just a little bit maybe in the future. But for me, Jason Goes to Hell, even though I really do like the movie and I enjoy watching it, it does have its fair problems, especially now watching it, which I watched it a couple months ago along with Jason X. And for me, it just was a movie that, you know, the beginning was great, the ending was great. There's stuff in between the movie that, you know, doesn't work now. And, you know, I'm, you know, not one that completely hates the idea of, like, Jason's soul jumping from body to body, but it just doesn't feel like a Friday the 13th film, like, midway into the film. Some really good kills in the movie, some redeeming qualities, but overall, even though I do like the movie, it does rank as one of the weakest ones of the franchise. Going on to number 11, and I'm only ranking this at number 11 because it's not a full-length movie. If it was a full-length movie, it would probably rank even higher on this list. That's going to be Never Hike Alone. Now, if you've not seen Never Hike Alone, it is a short film that came out maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and it's about 45 to 60 minutes. Really good short movie. They put a lot of time and effort into this movie. Some really good surprising cameos. But the story pretty much takes place with a hiker. He's walking this trail. He kind of has his own YouTube channel. And he just happens to come across the old Camp Crystal Lake. And when he's there, Jason pops up, and it's pretty much him surviving Jason and them battling each other back to back, or, you know, against each other. A really good movie, really good short movie, a great cameo at the end of the film, which I'm not going to spoil unless you have seen it, but I'm not going to if you haven't seen it. Great cameo. Overall, great short film. If it was a little bit longer, this would have ranked higher on the list, but definitely check out Never Hike Alone. I was really impressed with that one. Number 10, now this movie, so number 10, 9, and 8, they would probably kind of change throughout the years, but right now my number 10 is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. One of the reasons, and this is kind of a spoiler if you've not seen it, it's not Jason, it is a character by the name of Roy, killing off these teenagers who were involved with his son's death. Now, Friday the 13th Part 5 is definitely not a bad movie. Again, like, after Jason X, I really like a lot of these movies, even love a lot of these movies. And for me, A New Beginning is one of those movies I really enjoy watching. Now, it is a movie, each time I do watch it, that I always kind of have different feelings on. Sometimes I like it more than other movies, and sometimes I like it less. However, there are a lot more positive moments in this movie over negative moments. So it is definitely a movie I recommend watching. I do watch it when I do my Friday 13th marathon, and from time to time I feel like watching A New Beginning, so I will pop it in the player, have a good time with it. Great music in the movie, great characters, great overall kills. Again, there are just some negative moments that brings this movie down on as one of the weaker films in the franchise. Number 9 is going to be Freddy vs. Jason. Again, I'm adding Freddy vs. Jason. Jason is in the movie. Freddy vs. Jason is one of those movies that I still really enjoy. I think there are moments or, you know, cons in the movie. For instance, you know, some of the, you know, special effects or CGI isn't the greatest anymore. And there's some writing problems, but overall, just a blast of a movie. I still have a good time with the movie. I love the soundtrack, love a lot of the characters, some great kills in the movie. Another con would probably be, you know, the change of actors when it comes to Jason. I really think that if Kane Hodder would have been in this movie, it probably would have ranked higher on my list, because you can definitely tell it's not Kane Hodder playing Jason. And the guy playing Jason's not bad, but he doesn't bring the lively characteristics that Kane Hodder did with his Jason. So, you know, Freddy vs. Jason, it does rank almost to the middle of the franchise, slowly down to the bottom of the franchise, but I still really enjoy the movie a lot. Number 8 is going to be Part 7. Now, Part 7 jumps a little bit, kind of like with Part 5. It does jump on the list. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. But I do like The New Blood. I think it is a really good movie. I believe it's called A New Blood. I'm drawing a blank. But Part 7, I really enjoy the movie. Have a lot of fun with it. Watched it recently, so that's why it kind of ranks higher now. Is that, you know, I really had a good time watching the film this time around. I've never hated the movie. I've always really enjoyed the film. But, you know, right now, Part 7 ranks at number 8 for me. There are definitely a lot more pros than cons. Overall, I have a fun time with the characters. I do like Laura Park Lincoln in this movie as Tina. I think she's a great final girl. This is the first time we've seen Kane Hodder as Jason, and obviously he is the best thing about the movie. He really did bring something fresh to Jason that we had never seen with other Jasons in the past. No disrespect to them, because I do love those Jasons, but I think Kane Hodder did something special with Jason, and he really did with all of his movies. So for me, Part 7, A New Blood, ranks at number 8. Still really enjoy the movie though. Number 7, this will probably be a little bit controversial. Actually, like number 7 and number 6 will be. But number 7, I have to say, the 2009 remake, Friday the 13th. If there was one of my cons that I would have with this movie, is that I would have actually made this movie part of the original franchise. Don't associate it as a remake. Change a little bit of things around and make it a sequel, because in my eyes it's more of a sequel than a remake. And I sometimes hate when movies, like with the new Halloween from 2 years ago, they made it a revival, which is fine, but they just called it Halloween. It's definitely a sequel to the original Halloween. So, come up with a different title. Same thing with the Friday the 13th remake. It's associated as a remake. They called it a remake, but for me, it feels more like a sequel. And I think if it would have been more of a sequel, I think it would have got more of, praise than it did negativity. For me, I love the movie. I really love the film. It's a film that's so funny because when I first saw it the 2 times in theaters, I loved it. Watched it maybe 2 or 3 times after seeing it in theaters, and it kind of went down a little bit for me. But nowadays, every time I watch it, I love the film. Great kills, overall great characters, some problems with the script, some one-liners that are terrible, and some character choices that they made that I don't like. But overall, I am one of those people that loves the remake. I have a great time with it each time I watch it now, and I cannot believe it is 11 years old. That is crazy. Going on to number 6 is Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. I know this movie is going to be controversial because not a lot of people enjoy this movie. In fact, a lot of people hate this movie. I'm one that loves Jason Takes Manhattan. It is one of those films I remember growing up that I was kind of terrified with. There's some elements when I was a kid watching the film that creep me out. Now, I know the movie does have problems, but for me, I love the film. I have a blast with it. I overall enjoy the characters. I love the kills. The guitar kill's great. The decapitation, Jason punching the guy's head off, awesome kill. Just overall, for me, I have a blast with this movie. It's one of my go-to movies in the franchise, and I still have a good time with it. If you've not seen it in a while, definitely pop it in, give it a watch. I think Jason Takes Manhattan is a lot better than what people think of it. So, but that's just my opinion. Going into my top 5, now my top 5 are the ones I really, really love. I love the remake, I love Part 8, but the top 5, are my, top 5 go-to ones. I watch them quite a bit. Number 5 is going to be Friday the 13th Part 3, 3D. Now, I love the movie. Years ago, it probably would have ranked higher on the list. It's still in my top 5, which means it is still one I go to a lot, and I absolutely love the movie. But I think this is a film, even though I still love it, it doesn't rank higher just because I really think the next 4 are better movies. Part 3, there are some things I like less than the other 4 movies, but I still think it works really well. I love the classic feel that it still has. I think it's just one of the better films in the franchise. I love the kills. Overall, really enjoy the characters. Richard Broker as Jason brought the hockey mask to the franchise, and that is, a moment that we'll never forget as Friday the 13th fans. And for me, it's an iconic character. It's an iconic mask. Love Richard Broker as Jason, so rest in peace to Richard Broker. He is definitely one of the best Jasons, and this is definitely one of the best Friday the 13ths in the franchise. And I have to say, like Kane Hodder, Richard Broker brought Jason, not back to life, but he brought a fresh take to him, because this, again, was the first time we saw Jason with the hockey mask. So for me, that is a huge plus. So rest in peace, Richard Broker. Always will be one of the best Jasons. Number 4 is going to be probably one of the scariest Friday the 13th films in the franchise. I remember being 5 years old, watching bits and pieces of this on TV, and vividly remembering things. and it would be Friday the 13th Part 2. I love Friday the 13th Part 2. I think it's a scary film. It is definitely one of the best ones of the bunch, and one I go to quite a bit. Sackhead Jason is fantastic. I love the portrayal of Jason in this movie, and this was the first time that we saw Jason as the killer. So another positive, Jenny, real quick, I have to mention Amy still. She is definitely one of the best final girls in slasher movie history. Definitely probably the best final girl of this franchise, next to Alice. I love both those final girls. I think Amy Steele's fantastic, and overall just a fantastic Friday the 13th film. Part 3, or number 3, is going to be Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. Still holds up as one of the best. You know, probably years down the road, it will probably be my favorite of the bunch, but for right now, it is number 3. I love the final chapter. There's really no negatives of this movie. You know, going, my top 3, there's no negatives at all. Even, Part 2 had no negatives. But Part 4, absolutely love it. No negatives about this movie. Fantastic. Probably some of the most likable characters as a whole. I think actually all the characters are really likable in this movie. There's never a character in the film where I'm like, I absolutely hate that character. I love these characters quite a bit. So Part 4 is amazing. Yeah, ranks number 3 though. My second favorite of the bunch is Part 1, the original film, classic Friday the 13th film. Still kind of creepy, has an eerie atmosphere, very effective, and definitely one of my favorites. It is and deserves to be at number 2. But number 1, I keep messing this up, sorry guys. Number 1 is Part 6, Jason Lives. Hands down my favorite Friday the 13th film. I absolutely love Jason Lives. Again, this is, a fresh take on Jason. This is the first time we saw Jason as a zombified Jason. He wasn't alive in this movie. CJ Graham does a fantastic job as Jason, definitely hands down my second favorite Jason. Oddly enough, this is my favorite Friday the 13th film, but I think Kane Hodder still is hands down the best Jason. CJ Graham, though, love him in this, love him as Jason. I love Tom Matthews as Tommy Jarvis. Great portrayal of him. One of the best characters in the Friday the 13th franchise. Just overall, love the movie. I love this film. I go to it quite a bit. Obviously, it's my number 1, so this is definitely the one I watch a lot. So anyway guys, sorry for the mess ups, rankings, that happens with me. I kind of mess up a little bit, but I hope you guys enjoyed my ranking of the Friday the 13th franchise. Definitely let me know what your ranking is. Leave comments down below. Tell me your favorite one, and once again, happy 40th to the original Friday the 13th. It is definitely by far one of the best movies made and one of the best horror movies made, and ranks number 2 on my list. So definitely a fantastic Friday the 13th film. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. You guys have a great weekend, great rest of the weekend. Happy Saturday to you all. And like always, you guys are awesome. You guys rock. In with the positive, out with the negative, and go eat some Skittles. Alright guys, bye.